So we've got data. Now what? In this section, we will help you begin to explore your DRA data while utilizing a framework called the collaborative learning cycle. Some of you may already be familiar with this framework, but for others, it will be new. And this is okay. You will just start from your level of readiness. And knowing that this framework exists and is a powerful way to talk about data. It was introduced to our triad members in the fall of 2021 and is still really quite new to the majority of us. But we felt it important to introduce you to the framework in this session as it really can help lead to very rich conversations around data. We'll share with you an overview here, then we'll incorporate portions of the framework into the remainder of this session. So we'll begin by sharing a phase one. So the collaborative learning cycle is a framework for helping us better understand and interpret data in order to take action. It is from a resource, and I think I have it here somewhere, called Got Data, Now What? By Laura Lipton and Bruce Wellman. And each of our schools actually has a copy of this resource. So if it's something that you'd like to, dig a little bit deeper into, you can certainly ask your triad team to access it for reference. We won't get into all the depth and detail and good stuff of this book, but we will highlight these three phases of the collaborative learning cycle, which will really help you and your school-based teams engage in conversations around your DRA data in support of your learners. So basically, the collaborative learning cycle involves working together as a school-based team to understand and uncover problems, then determine and try out some solutions while focusing on the data and engaging in reflective dialogue. The framework really has the potential to unleash the power of data to foster a positive and purposeful learning culture in our SunWest schools and to help us use student data to inform our instruction. So phase one, we'll begin with just giving you an overview of this phase and the remaining phases, but phase one is called activating and engaging. And this phase, it really involves starting by just being curious. This is our chance to think about the potential of the results and to be curious and to wonder and to imagine and start to even make some predictions prior to looking at any data. At this stage, we are not diving into the data itself. We're just thinking about it and coming to some of our own assumptions and predictions. And it's really important in this phase, in order for it to be effective, is that we first have the opportunity to build a team that is created and trusts one another and becomes a trusted space into which we can truly share our thoughts and our ideas before looking at the data in phase two. So as triad teams, we had an opportunity to practice the collaborative learning cycle in the fall, and we witnessed the power of establishing rapport and trust with our team members and beginning by thinking about the assumptions and predictions that we have before getting into the data itself. So that's a bit of an overview of phase one. We'll come back to it as we work through the process in relation to DRA. Phase two, exploring and discovering. So phase two is where our school-based teams begin looking at the actual data. This phase provides an opportunity to ask insightful questions and to reframe our thinking. It involves digging deeper into the data, maybe doing some sorting, some analyzing, some comparing, some contrasting. The data will kind of lead you where you need to go with your investigations. Something I recommend here too is really trying to make your discussions in this phase very visible. You want to make data visible in various ways. So you might be, drawing things on a whiteboard or on some chart paper where you're looking at trends or patterns or charting some things out, graphing some things, taking some graphs that you've already have available and making a visual of them, just so that you can look at the data in different ways to seek trends, to look for patterns, and to see if there's anything in that data that might surprise you. Another kind of caution area in this stage is just when exploring and discovering, please try to avoid jumping to premature conclusions and closure. We must really remain open to new ideas and fresh perspectives and fresh ways of looking at things while we're engaging in phase 2. And there is power in team rather than power in the individual here. And you'll see that come to light in your school-based teams. We may very well remain in this phase for quite a period of time before we're ready to venture on and move into phase 3. So phase 3 involves the stages of causation and action. And it really, in this phase, takes us some time as teams to investigate the data in various ways. We really are trying to get down to that root cause, the causation, like what's happening here. And then from what we've determined, start to formulate an action plan or some next steps to help our learners on their reading journey. So often in this stage, we are carefully considering other aspects of sound assessment as well. You can see kind of on the slide that it says what additional data sources might we explore to verify our explanations. There's a lot of factors that can come into play here and are very important. For example, you might want to consider your observations of students, conversations with students and families, and any additional data, tools, or sources that you've used in relation to aspects that would support the DRA results and student reading. And once causation is determined and you've looked into everything as thoroughly as possible, then it's time to create some clear, some actionable, some measurable action plans. And these may even, will be talked about a little bit further on, but might even relate to our personalized goals that we're using in support of students.